We've got a virtual tour of India a la art at the Irving Archives and Museum. We'll get fit with Camp Gladiator, and we'll have a preview of Main Stage Irving Las Colinas' An Act of God. All this and more coming up About Town. Hello everyone and welcome to About Town. I'm Kathy Whiteman. Thanks for joining us today to meet the reigning Ms. Mature Irving and to get the details on auditions for the Lone Star Youth Orchestra. And Cynthia Flores returns with a review of Mucho Mucho Amor. As always, we'd love to have your feedback. Tell us about events going on around the community or stories you'd like to see on the show. You can email us at ictn@cityofirving.org or connect with us on social media. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Camp Gladiator makes getting fit fabulous with their early morning workouts at the Toyota Music Factory. Susan got up early to find out how they help build muscle and a sense of community.
Stretch those legs and move those muscles. In addition to Camp Gladiator's membership program, they offer free classes every Saturday morning at the Texas Lottery Plaza at Toyota Music Factory.
We're here at 7:30 in the morning, and we invite pretty much the entire community. Of course, it's for our campers here of Camp Gladiator, but really it's open to the entire city of Irving. So our Saturdays are always for free, so anybody can come and join in and work out with us.
The classes include a variety of boot camp style workouts.
We do everything from HIIT training, cardio training, weights, endurance training, and so it really is a little bit of everything. And what's great is that every workout is different, so you're never going to be bored by it, but you really do hit like every body part, every aspect of your strength, agility, cardio, and so it really is very all-rounded comparatively to a lot of other things I've done before.
What makes Camp Gladiator stand out among other workout classes is the outdoors and the people.
There's something to be said about being around others, or out not being inside so much, right? Because you can get stir crazy, right? It's like, okay, I need to be around others. I want to see what everybody else is doing. So a lot of it is psychological. Hey, just come and just free your mind a little bit, at least for an hour.
I am someone who is not motivated by myself. Like working out at home, it was like, I don't want to do this. You really can't get into it. I like the energy that people bring to the camp every day, and so I like being out here to have the music, the trainers, the people, and so it's been a great reprieve from day-to-day work from home life and being at home all day. It's nice to come out here and just enjoy the outdoors and have a good workout.
And Camp Gladiator is able to provide a dynamic and safe workout while still following CDC guidelines.
We're making sure that our campers are, putting their mats maybe 6 to 10 feet apart. We just want to make sure that we keep a little distance there and make sure that we just explain what we're doing a little bit more clearly, a little bit more crisp whenever we explain it. Other kinds of things that we're doing, hand sanitizer, wipes, that's a must.
And if you prefer to work out from home, Camp Gladiator also offers virtual classes.
Our campers have been loving it because, they feel safe, they do it in the comfort of their own home, and they literally get guidance from certified trainers through the screen.
No matter if your workout is outside or online, Camp Gladiator encourages unity. Participants benefit from a healthy workout and a strong community.
I learned so much about Irving Las Colinas from being at camp every day. People tell me things like, a new restaurant opened up, or have you heard of this really cool place to go jogging, or things I would not know otherwise. I learned from people at camp.
For About Town, this is Susan Stevens.
If you'd like to get in on the action, learn about virtual or outdoor classes at campgladiator.com or call 214-587-4172. When the Irving Archives and Museum hosted the Smithsonian traveling exhibition Beyond Bollywood, they also partnered with Think India Foundation for a companion exhibit, India a la Art. Here's a panoramic view of the art and culture of Indian Americans in this virtual tour.
You would be looking at the textiles, the dance styles, and then various art forms in terms of drawing and painting.
It gives anyone who has not been to India a glimpse of, oh, wow, there is something like this out there.
It goes back a couple of years, actually. Think India has worked with the Irving's Art Center quite a bit, and we applied for an art grant that was introduced for 2018.
And we came up with a project that was called Art Comes Alive, where we would have art on the wall and we would find a way to make it come alive, for example, of a dance performance on the wall as an art piece. Then we would have somebody who is dressed up in similar costume, potentially explaining some things about dance to folks.
But Todd had this vision of opening this new center, and he saw that we would be able to do much more. So we collaborated with the Irving Archives.
And as we continued discussion, it became very clear that here was beyond Bollywood, all about India and how Indian Americans were shaping this nation. And here we were talking about Art Comes Alive, where we would be featuring art from India. What better thing to do than to bring the two together, and that we create something which became India a la art that would then complement beyond Bollywood that the Smithsonian was furnishing. So that was the genesis for how India a la art came about.
That was the start, and from the one room, probably a small exhibit, it turned out into a very big exhibition. In the main area, we have the dance forms. The way it leads you into the photographs and then the details about it, like what costumes might be used, what different dance forms there are, the traditionally, nationally recognized by India. Photography was more on the dance styles. It was focused on that. But what we did it locally here. I was looking for something non-linear that introduced dance styles. So we started with like a micro element, like a mudra or a hand pose. So that's where we used the photography element. We kind of brought that whole thing together, but the focus was mainly on the dance, but the photographs came out very well. So you started with that, then you moved towards the community exhibit where we collected the art from the 40 plus artists. The other section of it is where my personal interest is the textiles itself. What we tried to do was find everything that was either hand woven, handmade, hand painted. Nothing is commercially produced. So we were able to procure those elements, and we probably have about 13 different types. India has much more, but given the space and what we could collect, we narrowed down to the 13 styles that we could do. Some of them are from Kashmir, from North India. Some of them are from the west part of India, south. We mainly have the silk section. So we try to touch everything as much as we can from each part of the country.
The impression once we got it done was, wow, this looks really nice.
The intent is to, bring something more than the stereotypes. So I was really hoping that people get at least just a glimpse. I mean, this is probably just the icing, but it leads people to, accept more people in different ways, and hopefully be able to appreciate different aspects of the global community right here in Dallas.
Irving is so inclusive in having a diverse set of folks from all over the world living there. The Indian subculture just happens to be one of the many world cultures that live in Irving. And it's a wonderful story of inclusion, visually represented there. When you walk in there, that's what you will see. My biggest hope would be that it brings us together.
Learn more about the programs and mission of Think India Foundation at thinkindia.foundation. Cynthia Flores returns with a review of the new Netflix documentary Mucho, Mucho Amor on the life of Walter Mercado.
Hi, I want to tell you about a documentary that's a great way to spend some time inside beating the heat. Also, you'll want to wait till the very end of the credits for a sweet coda to the film. Mucho, Mucho Amor is a crowd-pleasing documentary that had its debut at the Sundance Film Festival this year and is now on Netflix. Even if you don't believe in astrology, you'll enjoy this film from award-winning documentarians Christina Constantini and Kareem Tabush. They do a great job telling the story of a small farm boy that would become the world-renowned Walter Mercado.
Okay, I'm ready.
El señor Walter Mercado.
Walter Mercado.
Walter Mercado.
Que ha salido para ti, Acuario, nada menos que la
Every single day for decades, Latinx people all over the world would stop to watch this extravagant Puerto Rican astrologer, psychic, and gender nonconforming legend charm the world with his televised horoscopes.
We grew up with him. I can't think of an English language astrologer that would command the attention of millions of households.
Scorpio, te pones ahora insistente.
Walter even crossed over to American audiences. Presidents from Reagan to Clinton also consulted him. To his Latinx audience, he was equal parts Oprah and Liberace, who at his peak reached over 120 million viewers daily.
Some people who speak English do not understand how loved you are in the Spanish community.
He's very much his own incredible creation.
He's an androgen. He looks like a woman. Sometimes he looks like a man.
He was like one of the biggest characters, yeah. Not just with Spanish TV, anywhere.
But all of a sudden, he disappeared.
The filmmakers had unprecedented access to Walter during his post-fame seclusion, and the film shines because of it. This documentary is not just a puff piece on how great Walter was. It also dives into what happened to make him stop dead in his tracks at the height of his fame. Mucho, Mucho Amor lets us see the final 2 years of this pioneering icon's life as he grapples with aging and his legacy.
Yo tengo la teoría que tal vez no quiso envejecer ante las cámaras.
¿Puedo decirle edad?
No. Since the moment I was born, I know that I was not like everybody. Everything about me was different.
He made you stop. He had the stop quality.
Bill made me the most well-known psychic of this world.
I can guarantee you Walter did not make millions on that. He didn't have someone really looking out for him.
Entonces, ahí es que empiezan los problemas.
I grew up with my grandmother watching Walter on television each day. I was a little kid that saw this magical person with all the capes and costumes give hope to people, telling us that better days were coming because it was written in the stars. This documentary is good because it captures what that magic was like and lets us see the man under the robes. So even if you've never heard of Walter before, you'll end up caring for him at the end. Walter always ended his programs by blessing the audience with love. And lucky for us, because of Mucho, Mucho Amor, we get to hear his message of peace and love one more time.
You use a cape because you're a superhero. And I see Walter as a superhero.
I'm a fortune teller, but I don't like to know my future. I just want to enjoy this moment of my life.
El amor es la razón de todo. El amor es el alfa y el omega. El amor es la razón de vivir.
Mucho, Mucho Amor is streaming now on Netflix. Auditions for the Lone Star Youth Orchestra are coming up soon, and we've got the details for you. Dr. Kevin Pierce is the music director and conductor of the orchestra, and he's joined by orchestra member Margo Radikitchinen. Thanks so much for joining me via Zoom, you guys. It's great to see you.
Great to be here.
Wonderful. So, Dr. Pierce, I'm going to start with a question for you. There may be a few viewers in town who are not familiar with the Lone Star Youth Orchestra. Can you tell us about the orchestra?
Well, we are a youth orchestra that we draw from all over the DFW area. We have students who are ages coming from about, I'd say, 6th or 7th grade all the way until they graduate high school, so to 12th grade. We are a unique group in that we do not charge tuition of our members. There's only some small fees to join, and so we really try to make the cost affordable. And we have students who play all sorts of instruments. So basically all of the string instruments, the orchestral string instruments, as well as your standard concert band instruments. So all of your, we have woodwind and also brass instruments and percussion as well. So sometimes people think, oh, orchestra, that's string only, especially in public schools. But we have wind and percussion as well.
Well, I've heard the orchestra in performance over the years, and I'm always so impressed by the music that you select and the enthusiasm of the kids as they're performing. So, so that brings up the auditions, of course, because lots of people want to be involved in this. I think the auditions will be a little bit different this year. Are you doing anything a little differently because of the demands of COVID?
Well, yes, we are. We kind of scaled back the days, and we're, as of now, obviously in this time and this age, that the plans are always subject to change. As of now, we are doing we're splitting up our audition times. Our auditions are going to be on the 15th of August as well as the 22nd of August. And we are splitting it up by times, by instruments. So strings will be in one block of time, woodwinds will be in one block of time, brass and percussion will be in their own blocks of time as well. Students, if possible, are obviously going to wear masks. And as of now, that's a study that's being done, that some things have just been released as far as making the safest environment possible for the students to audition, and also for us to rehearse in once we have the orchestra selected.
That's great, and I know that that'll give everybody a level of comfort so that they can come out and do their best job. So I want to ask Margo a question now. You know about the orchestra firsthand. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been involved and what you enjoy most about being a part of it.
Well, I think I've been in it for 5 years, since I was in 6th grade. And what I really enjoy is that it's not very, it's not overly competitive. There's a lot of teamwork, and so yeah.
That's really neat. What instrument do you play, Margo?
Violin.
How long have you been playing violin?
12 years.
Wow, that's a lot of experience there for somebody so young. How does being a part of the orchestra help you with your love of music, with your love of your instrument? How does it help you be a better performer?
Well, the music is very challenging, so it makes me work harder on skills that I usually wouldn't work on, like at home.
Yeah,
and
that's
yes.
that's an impressive thing to say. So if you can think of one thing about being a part of the orchestra that you would like to share with viewers who maybe are thinking, well, I like to play my violin or my cello, or I like to play my instrument, what would you say to them to encourage them to audition for the auditions that are coming up?
Well, it's advanced, but at the same time, it's very laid back, like the rehearsals and all that. So you don't really need to be afraid of auditioning for it.
That's actually really good advice, because most people are very nervous when it comes time to audition for anything. So thank you for sharing that it's laid back and people can just come and play. Next couple of questions are for you, Dr. Pierce. You mentioned that you've got a range of instruments. Are there any requirements that people need to know about before they call in to register for a spot?
Yes, they definitely need to check out on our website and download the audition requirements. As far as what students have to play, there are some required scales that students need to play based on which instrument they play. There are also some excerpts out of standard orchestral music that students should be familiar with and definitely need to practice those, because those are a pretty standard requirement that are done really on all auditions. And then as far as a solo piece that I like to hear, students should play something that they are working on with their private teacher and something that they feel most comfortable with. One thing about auditions that I also want to add, that students might not be familiar with the way your standard orchestra auditions happen in, like, basically all of your standard orchestra auditions. The only people who are in the room when they actually play their audition is me and the student. And sometimes these auditions are done when they're in public schools, at least in Texas, where they're in a gigantic room with, sometimes like as many as 30 other students, and basically everyone hears everyone else's audition. We don't do that, and no professional orchestras do that, and no colleges, at least that I've heard of, do that. So that's, I think, hopefully what Margo is talking about, as far as it being a little bit more relaxed atmosphere where kids get to breathe a little bit. And, you know, we work hard. It's some challenging music that we play. We play a lot of stuff that pro groups play, but it is something where, you know, we want our kids to feel a little bit of relaxation. We also want them to feel like they are trying to achieve a goal that's an achievable goal, and that it's not just something that is totally above just totally out of their reach.
That's a really nice combination there, to have, you know, challenging and interesting music for the students to play, but in a situation where they can not feel the pressure of having to be impressive for the adult in the room and all the other kids in the room, because that's different kinds of pressure, you know what I mean? So, final question for you is this: how does the orchestra fit into the overall educational outreach that you guys are doing?
I think we fill a really important role. We have some students, like Margo, who is an example of that, who are homeschooled. Some students who come to us from maybe a school district where orchestra is not offered. We have some districts around us where there's a band, but there's not an orchestra. And we give those kids a chance to play music that they wouldn't get a chance to play either in school groups or in their private lessons with their one-on-one teacher. So that's what's really important to us. And then also, what's the most important thing for me is that students get a chance to play music by composers whose music is played by those pro groups. Because when we have a chance to experience that firsthand, it's, you know, a great teacher of mine once said, it's like going back in time, going into Michelangelo's studio of sculpture and telling the sculptor, hey, I really like that sculpture of yours. Maybe we could just take off a little bit of marble there. Maybe we could just save that a little bit. Maybe we could change that a little bit, because that's a unique experience that musicians among all the arts get to do, and not a whole lot of students necessarily get that experience.
Well, it sounds like an exciting experience, no matter what the kids are playing, but when you couch it in those terms, they're playing music, great music from the world, and it sort of lifts it up to another level. Thank you guys both so much for giving us your time today. We really appreciate it. Folks, the auditions are Saturday, August 15th and 22nd by appointment only. Visit lascolinas.org/LSYO/auditions to register and to learn more, and hurry, because those audition times are going fast. Mainstage Irving Las Colinas has a hilarious new show you can enjoy from the comfort of your living room. It's the Broadway hit An Act of God, with a 3-person cast who prove beyond a shadow of a doubt you can make comedy at a healthy social distance. Susan Stevens has the story.
Yea, I have grown weary of the 10 Commandments in exactly the same way that Don McLean has grown weary of American Pie.
In ICT Mainstage's latest production, An Act of God, we're told about a new set of 10 commandments.
It's quite irreverent. You know, I think God and religion have a bit of a sense of humor in them.
If God was going to give a TED Talk, this is how he would do it. And that's kind of what we've tried to bring in with our design and with the characters is that God's an expert on the subject, and he's giving us 10 new commandments, and he's making us look at something that we think we knew a little bit about and see it in a completely different way.
In this comedy by David Haverbaum, God is here to set the record straight and answer the deepest questions that have plagued mankind since creation, with some help from two devoted angels.
I feel like I am the announcing angel. So I am the angel that reads a lot of Bible verses, and I'm also the one that announces the 10 Commandments, the new 10 Commandments.
See, Angel Michael is essentially there to voice questions from the people, the audience members or lack of audience members, as the case may be. And as the play progresses, it really becomes Michael's the voice of, why is this happening?
God talks about why bad things happen in this world and even discusses the necessity of social distancing, which is something the cast and crew have been working on during rehearsals.
Theater has always grown to adapt to the environment that it is in. And so our actors have adapted to it. So we've worn masks during rehearsals and elevated that to using face shields so we could see facial expression, because facial expression is obviously very important on stage. But we've just tried to really protect our cast. So we've isolated them we've had all of our production meetings be via Zoom or distance, so that the people that are interacting with their cast are very limited, because we understand, the safety concerns there. We just wanted to give them as little contact with people as possible to kind of protect them.
And while they are protecting the actors, they are also protecting audiences by making this a virtual show.
You will purchase basically the ability to get a link.
The play will be pre-recorded and available to stream online for 2 weeks.
And they can go at their leisure, if you want to do that at 2 in the morning, which I would suggest after a couple cocktails. You can do that, or if you want to have a Saturday evening date night, you can do it that way.
See the hilarious show safely from the comfort of your own home, as an act of God will bring much-needed laughter and hope into your life.
A lot of tragedy right now going on, and people going through some things that have been bringing people down. And at least with this show, we get to give them a chance to liven things up and to lift their spirits and have a good time.
When Irving talked to me about doing this main stage, they said, we think people need something to laugh at right now. And that really resonated with me. So we're going to do our best to do that, and if people come in just with an open mind and a ready laugh, I think they'll have a great time.
There's so much reflection. I think that's what COVID's really given us a lot of opportunity to do, is to reflect. And just this show being an embodiment of that self-analysis and, growth that comes from that. So it's, yeah. And it's hilarious. It's amazing.
As you'll see in the show, we are all that we have, each other. And if we're kind to each other and if we treat each other with compassion and understanding, then I think that is what will save us.
I actually killed all the animals and
For About Town, this is Susan Stevens.
I'm God. I can do that.
An Act of God is streaming through August 1st, and you can purchase your digital ticket at mainstageirving.com. Here's another look at the work of Irving ISD's talented elementary artists and a list of ways you can create some fun virtually about town. Take a moment now to remember Pete Fernandez. The Georgia-born Ada Anderson Fernandez, known as Pete to family and friends, was an accomplished painter and an inspiration to a generation of artists whom she mentored through her gallery, The Main Artery, in downtown Irving. She worked tirelessly to preserve the history of Irving and to support its arts and culture. She told me once in an interview that she wanted her paintings to capture truth and beauty. Pete did so, not just in her paintings, but in the way she lived her life. She passed away on July 10th, 2020. That wraps up this edition of About Town. Thanks for joining us. Please be sure to join us next time when we'll meet artist Stephen Fouch. We'll have another edition of Restaurants to Go, and we'll find out how Kids Art Summer Camp went online and across the globe. Please keep practicing social distancing and other important safety measures as we continue to support each other through this health challenge. We'll leave you tonight with another look at music in the hills. I'm Kathy Whiteman. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.